So I was thinking about one thing that His Holiness mentioned quite a bit during the Australian teachings. He came back to this point again and again, actually, and that is the importance of study. You know, that it's not sufficient just to sit and meditate, but we need to really study, and specifically study the great Indian treatises, the great Tibetan treatises, so that we gain a deep understanding of what the Buddha said. Okay, and the reason for this is that meditation doesn't just involve sitting down and crossing your legs and looking holy. Okay, we have to know what meditation means. We have to know how to meditate, because otherwise you can sit down and daydream your whole time, or meditate on wrong views and, put more imprints of wrong views in your mind. You could waste a lot of time if you don't know what you're doing. Yeah. So he really emphasizes the importance of learning the teachings, okay? Because when we learn the teachings, the teachings are the material we're to meditate on. So it's not like you study over here and then what you meditate on is something completely different over here. Like your meditation practice is the main thing, but you study a few things just along the way. But no, rather what you study, what you learn is what you meditate on. Okay? Because otherwise, why did the Buddha give so many teachings? Yeah, if the teachings aren't for meditation, if they aren't to be realized, then why did the Buddha give them? Yeah, if meditation were the only thing, he would have just described a few simple meditation techniques and left it at that. Yeah, but he didn't. He really gave these very vast and profound teachings. So it's important to learn them. And in our meditation, His Holiness also says that we need more than just one kind of meditation that we do, because our mind is something very complex and complicated, and so one technique cannot deal with all the different aspects of our mind. So we need to learn many, many different techniques. So, for example, while we say that the wisdom realizing the ultimate nature is, the ultimate wisdom that's going to destroy all the defilements, at, earlier levels of the path, we have no idea what the ultimate nature is. That wisdom, realizing it is like, it hasn't even grown. So we need to learn other ways of dealing with our afflictions when they come up. Yeah, and so we learn, meditation on love. We learn seeing events as the result of our own karma. All these other kinds of ways of viewing situations that are easier to understand than the emptiness of inherent existence. So we have to learn those and practice those in our life, and at the same time slowly develop our understanding of the ultimate nature. Okay? So he's really, His Holiness really laying out the very broad scope of what we need to do to become Buddhists. That it's not a simple little exercise with one meditation technique and very little study, like that. That doesn't work. Also, he says, well, prayers and aspirations are good, but you're not going to get realizations by prayers and aspirations alone, because just by praying, Buddha, may I generate love and compassion, but then we don't train our mind in love and compassion, then, you can pray all you want, but the mind's not going to change. Okay, so we really have to, not be content with just requesting prayers or reciting prayers, but actually training the mind so that the mind thinks differently, sees things differently than it does in the present. And although we eventually want to go beyond thought to direct non-conceptual realizations, in order to have the correct view, we have to first understand what the correct view is, and that is done through listening to a teacher. So it involves language, it involves conception, so we have the wisdom from hearing the teachings, then we have the wisdom generated from contemplating them, then, and gaining a valid inference of the meaning, not just kind of some general meaning that kind of sounds good to our deluded mind, but an actual inference, and then habituating that mind to the correct view through single-pointed meditation. Yeah, so there's a lot to do on the path. Yeah, and so for that reason, we need to have a very big mind and a very big heart, that has fortitude so that we can practice for a long time. Because if we come into the path, with a lot of expectations of gaining things, the quick, cheap, easy path, then we're going to be very disappointed. Yeah, because unless we did a whole lot of training in previous lives and accomplished many things in previous lives, we're not going to have instant realizations this lifetime. Okay? So it's this steady process of building things up. But I think that steady process of building up the right understanding and the different virtuous qualities, that's something that brings a lot of joy and fulfillment even when we are ordinary beings. Because as we practice and as we see our mind change, and we can see how we deal with situations changing, and that we don't think the same way we did before. We don't fly off the handle the way we did before. We're a little bit kinder than we were before. Things like that. Then, we see that the Dharma's working, and that brings an inner sense of fulfillment and satisfaction. And then, we just keep on going, building upon that. Okay? So he was also emphasizing, the need to cultivate both method and wisdom. So method's the part of the path based on bodhicitta, the aspiration for full enlightenment for the benefit of sentient beings. So all the good deeds and good practices that we do on a conventional level, motivated by that altruistic intention, we need that, which is the method side of the path, and we also need the wisdom side of the path that knows the ultimate nature. And then we need to combine them so that the method supports the wisdom, and the wisdom supports the method. So that means the method supporting the wisdom means that before you do meditation, let's say on emptiness, we cultivate bodhicitta, and that remains our intention for doing the meditation on the ultimate nature, even though when we're doing that meditation, we're not thinking about bodhicitta. We're focused on the ultimate nature. Okay. Then the wisdom of the ultimate nature supporting the method aspect means that when we're practicing generosity, ethical conduct, fortitude, and so on, we practice seeing the agent, the object, and the action of those things, like the giver, the recipient, the action of giving, okay, as being dependent on each other, therefore being empty, and therefore also appearing as like illusions, in that they appear truly existent, although they aren't. And so that is the the wisdom supporting the method aspect of the path. So we have to put all these things together over a period of time. Yeah, but I think as we do, then, we can see the Dharma really working inside of us. And that gives us a lot of optimism and a lot of buoyancy and a lot of hope, because through our experience we can see the change. Okay? Ready? Set? Go.